Hello and welcome to Policy Musings, a podcast by Bharat K. Today we're here with Mr. Dipak Dash, a reputed journalist who has written extensively on transport and infrastructure. Mr. Das, thank you so much for taking the time out. I know you have a very busy schedule, so we really appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to be here with us today. The reason we really wanted you to be with us was that we've recently done a report, as you must have seen, on e-commerce and logistics during the festive season. And given your extensive experience in kind of looking at the sector, we thought you'd be the perfect person to kind of discuss, logistics and the festive season with. And given that we're recording this episode just a few days after Diwali, I think it's perfect. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
So, sir, I'd like to, before we get into the festive season aspects of it, e-commerce is still relatively young. I think it was the early 2010s when the sector really came up. So, having observed it right from its early days, what impact do you think e-commerce has had on logistics?
See, e-commerce, you may say it's very young, but the way it has grown, I think it has become adult very fast. From a child to an adult, and it's catching eyeballs of everyone. It's a part of our life now, whether we believe it or not, we accept it or not, that we talk about kirana shops, wholesale dealers, all those things which are quite relevant about, as you rightly said, about 15 years back. But now those have been replaced by e-commerce for few reasons, as all of us know, that we want things very quickly. All of us have become very impatient. If you look at your own mobile phone, if the internet buffers for even 1 second, you feel as if the world has come to an end. So if that happens, it has become a part of our life that what we need now, we want it to be delivered in few minutes, few seconds. So that's one part of it. Second part is also the convenience, because you get it at your home. You don't have to go to a place, and also you have a lot of choice. Second thing that has helped the e-commerce growth from consumer perspective is primarily because you can compare the price. If you go back to early 2000, if you want to buy a television, then you had to go to 3 shops, maybe one in South X, one in East Delhi. Someone will tell you that there's a good sale in Noida. Now you don't need to do that. You can actually check 3-4 platforms, e-commerce platforms. Then also, if you want to go, even these companies like Vijay Sales, big brands, they also have like e-commerce. So they're into also e-commerce platform. So now the getting choice has also become very easy. And for consumers, if we look at it, consumers need 2-3 things. Number one, they need a good price, they need convenience, and they also need to be assured that they're getting a good quality. I think in past 3-4 years, even e-commerce platforms, they are also focusing a lot on the quality. You see the replacement happening. There were some problems in the beginning because even consumers were not aware, e-commerce companies and their sellers, they were not aware. Now, because of more consumer awareness, policy frameworks in place like in Consumer Rights Act, Consumer Protection Act, there is a provision on how to deal with e-commerce, and people know where to complain, how to complain, and then after that we also saw this Central Consumer Protection Authority coming up. It is becoming playing a big role to protect consumers. So overall, things have changed. I see one good thing, that number of complaints going to the National Consumer Helpline of the Consumer Affairs Ministry, now where there's a quantum jump in number of complaints against e-commerce platforms. So and also quick commerce. So I think it should not be looked at as a problem, rather to find what are the better solutions. So that's the overall part. If we see logistics sector, now a good chunk of this e-commerce is also taking the business from the logistics sector, barring if you look at bulk cargo like transported by rail, road, rail primarily like iron ore, food grains, then coal, then fertilizer. If you look at the transport sector, it gets all of them maybe in different quantity except coal and iron ore. So they were primarily looking at one set of business. E-commerce has opened up this entire sector. So because of higher consumption now logistics also the sector is getting a lot of benefit because of this e-commerce. As you know, sale of high, white goods and sales of consumer durables. Now everything is available there. So logistics sector is also getting impacted or influenced by the new trends in the e-commerce. As it is becoming more popular, more people are opting for e-commerce. Logistics sector is also getting the impact. So to tell you, suppose you go back to again 2000, early 2000, if you wanted to buy a television, so actually you individually go to a shop and it will either come in a small four-wheeler or maybe in a cycle rickshaw, someone will come and drop it at your home. But now you see during festive season, all these residential colonies see big trucks coming, and or maybe those electric small vehicles. So those carry 5-6 fridges, 5-6 television. So all these things are getting influenced. I see that as e-commerce grows and our economy grows, our logistics demand will grow. But government and the people involved, all the stakeholders in this sector, they need to do a lot of things to ensure that things move fast, things move without much problem. One thing that I'd like to tell you about, you talked about logistics policy, which was launched in 2022 by Prime Minister, National Logistics Policy. It focuses on how to bring down the cost of logistics, because at the end of the day, if you spend a lot of money on transportation, the cost goes up. And maybe for us, because as a consumer we are more interested about logistics on e-commerce, but to be globally competitive, our logistic cost must come down below double digit. So though it has not been specified, it will be 8%, 9%. There are a lot of debates, different reports claim that our logistics costs are very high. Some say it is less than 12, 13%. But the fact remains that a cost of logistics must come down, and that can come down by taking several steps. Number one, that the transport sector or the way we transport our goods must change. There is a need to shift from road to rail and also to other modes of transport which are eco-friendly and also less expensive, like waterways. To give an example, like there are instances, there have been successful experiments of cars going from Varanasi side from this part to other parts of the country, and that's a very economic mode of transporting goods, vehicles, and secondly also it reduces pollution. So I think overall many things are being done. One big focus to my understanding is, which is part of the 2047 master plan, the vision document, that to increase the speed of trucks, and also what do we say, a daily trip of truck. Now trucks in our country make about 300 to 350 kilometer per day. If you see the developed countries, it's almost like double. So there is a lot of effort to ensure that we create more road network which are more friendly for big vehicles to transport goods. There are also things are being done, what we call hub and spoke model, like big trucks. What do we say about those who will be carrying goods from Bombay to suppose Delhi, Mumbai to Delhi, and it doesn't come to the center of Delhi. It actually stay there. It actually there is a go down or warehouses, whatever we say, in Manesar or in Gurgaon. From there you get smaller vehicles. So those are the new thoughts which are being implemented. I think as the country grows, logistics demand will grow, transportation will grow, e-commerce will grow. You cannot stop it. So the time has come that how we step up our activities to ensure that things happen in the right direction.
Thank you, sir. I think that encompasses a lot. in a very understandable manner for everyone that's listening. Sir, just building on what you said, we talked about the national logistics policy, and we've talked a bit about the role of government. But if we want to see logistics, really grow and keep up with e-commerce demand, what more do you feel the government kind of can do at this juncture?
See, there are few things. Logistics gets impacted by e-commerce. There is no doubt about that. As I also told you earlier. But government has a very limited role, if you see, because e-commerce growth is going to happen primarily because consumer wants it. So something that cannot be stopped or that cannot be changed. Government can bring only regulation to ensure that e-commerce companies are doing their business fairly. For e-commerce part, for the transportation part, if you look at the transportation part of e-commerce, I think these companies have also understood it very well. There have been debates for past 2-3 years. You must have also heard that, like quick commerce companies like Zomato, Swiggy, they deliver within 10 minutes. Then, Blinkit. Earlier used to be before one day, then before few hours. Now it's in 10 minutes, 8 minutes. So there were a lot of debates that, are they compromising with the safety part? Are their drivers, becoming rash? But then these companies also brought out very clearly that considering the demand, they have created small warehouses. Suppose now we are in something enclave. You order, Blinkit says that it will give you in 8 minutes. That means it must have a small outlet or some small warehouse either in Bikaji Kama Place or in Green Park. So if your distribution system is put like that, it should not be a problem. I think e-commerce companies have, evolved. Whenever they are making any promise, they are ensuring that things are well in place, they can deliver. Second part on e-commerce is, one new thing that is coming up. People are selling items for people to buy. How do you know that, you're getting the product which have a longer, life? For example, like suppose you are buying ghee. It's also part of e-commerce or quick commerce. In official terminology, there is nothing called quick commerce. Everything is, what is e-commerce? E-commerce is anything that you can do through online platform. So whether Swiggy or Flipkart or Zomato, all are actually e-commerce. But every time we come out with a new terminology to make it more attractive, so we call it quick commerce. E-commerce is also quick commerce. If you are getting a television in 24 hours, how can you say
that is quick? That is very quick.
No.
Amazon is quick commerce perhaps, and Zepto could be quicker commerce.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So now it's high time there's people who are into this quick commerce, they sell products which have, a better longevity, better longer life. Because when I buy an item by going to a shop, if it's a packed item, I can see what is the manufacturing date, what is the expiry date. But suppose I am buying it on Zomato or Swiggy or Blinkit or Big Basket, so I cannot see every packet. And suppose even if I see one packet, I am buying suppose 10 packets of biscuit. Is it possible to see all the 10 packets? Because what will be delivered, not known. So I think there the companies will do their self-regulation. In business we say best regulation is no regulation. When you do it yourself, I think the companies are also realizing that. So that's the consumer side of it. If you look at logistics part, as I told you earlier, they are creating their own distribution system. You see, when you buy a product on e-commerce or quick commerce, it tells that the item has been dispatched, ordered, dispatched, it is coming. So you know that actually it is coming from Mumbai and it is going to reach you in 2 days. So that put the system in place. One good thing that has started happening is mostly these quick commerce companies or e-commerce companies, they were using mostly road transport as a mode of bringing bulk items. In past 2-3 years, companies like Amazon, Flipkart, they're also transporting goods through railways. Amazon is also, I think, they did some initial studies, pilot project with shipping ministry.
Yes, absolutely.
To transport cargo through waterways. But let's be very practical that these are business. They are not going to do here for charity. They will do what suits. They will also do what they will make reasonable profit. I think that it's high time that companies also understand the meaning of reasonable profit. That's completely sometimes misunderstood and becomes a problem. But logistics will get impacted by e-commerce as we are seeing more population growing, more people are going for e-commerce. Then more planned cities are coming up, planned colonies happening. On the top of that, you also have huge unauthorized or now what you say unplanned colonies residences are coming up. There you don't have proper roads, smaller roads, but there also people are going to buy through Flipkart. I can give an example. I was recently at my village. It's a remote village, quite about 80-90 kilometers from our district headquarters. On Diwali, suddenly I talked to one or two people. They are saying that I'm getting a fridge today evening. I said, how did you get it? They said, we have ordered it through Flipkart. Then in the evening, I suddenly saw a big truck carrying almost like 10 fridges, 3 television, smart TVs, coming to a small village. So, and it's a good thing. It's nothing wrong with it. It also boosts our economy. And as we grow, this demand is going to grow.
So, sir, I mean, building on one of the points that you just mentioned about, these unplanned neighborhoods and colonies, and your big trucks loading up televisions, for example, and bringing them there. Do you feel there'll still be last mile delivery charges? Because like you said, the lanes are very small. So, how do you think companies can kind of overcome that?
Yes, I think the companies have they have their AI system, they have better analytics. I can give you from my own experience, during COVID, when you had to, order some food items which will get you after 3 days. If you remember those days, there used to be smaller trucks or maybe smaller goods vehicles. Yes. Those will come to your street with many, orders. But now it is not like that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, they also understand that how to deliver and when to deliver. If these companies will come to know that they're going to small orders, that's why they are mostly shifting to two-wheelers, whether it's Blinkit or even Amazon. But when it comes to, they know that there will be bulk demand. Then they know where to get it, and from there, how can it be shifted. But things are changing, as we all know. If you see the way items are getting delivered in past 10 years, have changed like, anything. Now, and second part is also government. Every government cannot ignore building better roads, because at the end of the day, development comes through road only. So even in smaller colonies, unauthorized places, villages, you now get better roads. Once there is a road, for logistics is what? From one point to another, and it should ensure that there is no unnecessary problem. So I think we also understood the importance of logistics, that why it needs to be made easy for doing business, easy for life, whatever you say. During COVID, you remember, that was the time when people realized that why trucks are so important in our life, because almost everything started stopped. But we got all the food items from different parts of the country, and the government put a lot of focus to ensure that no truck stops. They come without any. That should be the focus of government, not just during crisis. Let's ensure that any mode of logistics, any mode of transport that brings us essential commodities for our life, for our living, they must be brought in a manner without any hassle, provided they follow the rules and regulations. I think that should be the challenge, or that should be the focus of logistics development in our country. As I told you, highways are being built, considering that there is going to be high increase in demand for bigger vehicles, more goods. We are also seeing more railway lines are being built. The number of, if you see, every year per kilometer, electrification, laying of new lines. Now it's, we are creating records. So once you have road, rail and waterways coming to, an integration, that will boost our economic activities and also bring down logistics cost. For cities, I think it will take little time. If you go to like other countries, cities also get fed by products which come through the waterways. In our cities, it is almost missing now, except like Ganga National Waterway 1. But Yamuna could be one of the best mode of transporting goods and passengers. That has not happened. But let's hope. I think to my understanding, some things are being worked at the government level. Once that happens, we'll also start feeling the impact of inland waterway mode of logistics transport. That will also happen here.
Wonderful, sir. I think inland waterways and some of the other modes of transport that you're talking about, I think it's going to be very exciting to see how they slowly start coming together more and more and creating more access for our logistics networks, because I think that's really like you said, when we become comparable to some of the global players, and also it'll help bring down our logistics costs, which is I think important for all stakeholders in this process. Now, so I could keep talking to you about macro aspects of the logistics sector, and I'm sure you'll keep giving us wonderful insights. But I want to kind of bring this conversation towards the festive season. Now, since I think about 2014, I think the first sale was the Flipkart did. We've kind of seen this explosion of around every Diwali there are these big mega sales that all these e-commerce companies do, and it's a real explosion of like demand. Like, can you shed light on how this sudden surge? Of course, they plan for it for months, but how do e-commerce companies and logistics companies kind of deal with this seasonal surge?
Now, I will go to a little, older days, primarily because, as you said, during Diwali, whether it's Flipkart or Amazon, even smaller like quick commerce, they are also giving high discounts and people are buying a lot of items. But go back to our childhood, then also people used to buy a lot of things during Diwali. So it is, look at these companies, they understand our mind better than us. They knew that during Diwali, during Holi, people will buy. During Diwali, traditionally we paint our house, we buy new clothes, we buy new items. So companies knew that people buy. They also knew that now because of economy improving and everyone has better income, so they are going to buy more. And third thing, as you said, the first sale must have given them enough input that if you are coming with a heavy discount, then people are going to buy more. And on the top of that, this credit card, easy EMI, that's also, now everyone, almost everyone, many of us have a e-card, credit card. And once you have a credit card, you don't know how much you are buying and how much you'll actually end up paying. So companies have understood this very well. So that's the first part, that companies do only after they understanding how people are going to behave. Then they induce you new benefits, you expect that if I buy it today, maybe I'll save 5 rupees or 10 rupees, maybe 10,000 rupees. But by the time you pay the EMI, you paid the similar amount. But upfront it seems cheaper. So that's one part. But they know that people are going to buy because of that reason. Second part on the logistics, as you said. I see many people now getting into the logistics, business at the lowest level, which are, as you said, the last mile connectivity. They are taking it as a part-time job. So the companies also know that during Diwali, this is going to be by demand. And by the time they have that much of demand, they have created the warehousing system to keep enough item there, everything ready. They also push more number of people to that particular. That's what my understanding is. Otherwise, what you say, that during the sale, you have so many items being sold and everything is delivered at the right time. So if on the other days there is no other business, so what these people are doing? So they must have also mobilized people for these particular festive seasons. And secondly, these logistics companies are now doing a lot of research. They are also getting into a lot of analytics. So they are helping these companies, how exactly things move from where to where, how much time it takes, and the tracking of products from the origin to the destination is now so sophisticated. You get everything in time. Forget about as a consumer we are getting it. So look at the entire system they must have put in place. But one thing is very sure that maybe they will also need to improve things in the future because demands are going to grow, as I said, and our roads are going to see much more congestion in next few years, whether we believe it or not. Despite the number of roads we build, despite the number of tracks we lay, the demand is so much. So that's going to be an issue. Third thing is because they also know that by what time, like before Diwali, maybe before two months, they must be starting preparation. Now the e-commerce companies also need to play very proactive role to ensure that not just about television or about fridges or other things, white goods, even for consumer items, consumable items, they must keep the stock of product which have a longer life, as I told you. That's very important. Otherwise, that is going to become an issue in the next few years. So those are the things. I think they are much smarter than us, primarily because they understand how human behaves and how things will move, and they are putting a lot of money into those, creating warehouses. You must have heard about several stories of warehouses coming up in different places, and on the top of that, they are also going for high quality warehouses. It's not like simply dumping space. And e-commerce companies are also, like recent cases you must have heard, it became a matter of news that following the right practices in the warehouses.
Yes.
Because when you have high pressure, how do you deliver? There were reports from Andhra Pradesh that how these companies were, keeping items in the warehouses in a very unhygienic manner. So I think those are the new challenges. As we, as a consumer, become much more aware, regulatory authorities are becoming much more conscious about consumer protection, consumer right protection. These companies, besides improving on logistics and delivery at time, they must also look at their own self-regulation to ensure that they remain in good business.
I couldn't agree more, sir. I think, a real challenge for these companies is growing responsibly. And I go back to what you mentioned earlier about reasonable profit. I think, figuring out the balance between, keeping items properly and securely and making sure, things run efficiently while also making a profit is going to be the challenge for these companies. Now, sir, you touched upon, how gig workers can play a role, how companies use gig workers. Off late in the last few years, we've seen the emergence of, Yulu and Zip Electric, these e-bikes essentially that you can rent for the day. Do you think that these have really aided in the last mile delivery of goods, especially for quick commerce companies?
Because, that's the what we call, because I am a transport reporter, so I am saying, we call two-wheeler is the best mode of private transport. It takes you from your bed to the office. You can actually keep it close to your bed. Next morning, you take it up, go take it to office. So I think they have also realized that.
Yes.
They can, and particularly if it's a electric bike, then it's also cheaper. Yes. The cost is cost means operating cost is very less. And those can go to the, as we say, maybe a truck cannot go, but a two-wheeler carrying 20, 30 kilo, maybe 15 kgs, those items can go. I think one major concern, what I see, there have been some studies about during this festive season, all these, gig workers, the amount of load they carry, which has impact on their health. How do the companies ensure that they are following the right practice? Because obviously they must be getting very small amount per product.
Yes.
Say, so maybe 25, 30 rupees. For one trip, you go for 100 rupees, 150 rupees, like as per these quick commerce companies. So, some kind of regulation, how they're going to ensure that, people who are working in proper good condition. Government is taking a lot of steps, as you must be, reading labor ministries ensuring that the gig workers get, right remuneration, their rights are protected. I think as we grow, things will shape up, and everyone is now conscious, whether it's a gig worker, consumer, e-commerce companies, their intermediaries, sellers, people like us who talk about e-commerce and rights of these people. I think all of them will come together. Everyone will do its level best to ensure that e-commerce grows, consumer rights are protected, people get the right products without any problem. People who deliver, their rights are protected, their future is protected, and at the same time, government does enough on the ground to ensure that things move fast. Until things move fast, last mile, first it has to come from one end to the other, then only the last mile connectivity will happen. I think those things are going to change. In next, I think 3-4 years, we will also see more number of LNG trucks coming. Then hydrogen fueled vehicles will come. Once all these things come, we'll also see that we have a more sustainable mode of logistics or public transportation system. Once that happens, we will have a better time. That's my say.
Wonderful, sir. I think, you touched upon a very sobering thought, which is, the conditions of gig workers as well. And I think, that's something that, inclusive growth is very important, growth for all. Like, everyone should grow in a responsible manner and everyone should benefit. I think that's a wonderful thought to kind of end things on. But before I let you go, sir, any last thoughts that you want to share on the growth of the logistics sector and the festive season?
No, as I said, as the economy grows, logistics demand will grow. But then we also need to ensure that when the demand grows, we also create enough infrastructure to ensure that things move without much hassle. Things are delivered in time. It's become easier, and now everything is online. System is there, so that's one part. And as we know, it's not just Diwali. If you see now, sale is almost happening every 3 months, some occasion or the other. It's like, the Archie is creating several days, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Daughter's Day, so which we never knew. But suddenly we come to know that yesterday was the best lighting day. So we celebrate. I think the e-commerce companies are also doing like that. During Holi you have something, during Diwali, then suddenly maybe you will see after a few years, they will start realizing that people buy a lot of items during Chhat. They will say, no, let's have a sale during Chhat
Puja sale.
So, and that's very practical because they're all into the business. I'm into the business, you are into the business. You are doing this podcast because you know that people are going to listen to it. I write because I know that people are reading it. Absolutely. Similarly, the companies will do because they know that, when they know that there is a business, they will do it. I think if at all, these companies can also looking at this big sale, just not during 26th of January, Republic Day, 15th August, Holi and Diwali. Maybe I think time will come. They will look at other avenues when this sale can happen.
Understood, sir. Understood. Well, sir, I think that, was very informative. And once again, thank you so much for taking the time out. I know you have a very busy schedule, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and we will look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. To our viewers, we hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as we did. To learn more about e-commerce logistics during the festive season, visit our website www.bharatgain.org and download the full report today.